GSL Season 1, Round of 10. Africa TV, Freak Up Studio Live.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another day of the GSL Code S. We are in the round of 10 going into Group B.
That's right. That's right. It's doesn't really roll off the tongue like our previous groups we've had for the past 12 years, but
yes,
round of 10. You heard that correctly, and it's been kind of interesting so far. Round robin. We're doing like half of Group B today, and next week we're going to figure out who's actually going to be advancing.
Right. We're not going to have any. We won't have the concrete results until next week. So we got halfway through Group A. Now we're going to go into Group B. And then next week we're going to go back into A and B and then move on to the round of 6.
That's right. Only 4 people are going to be eliminated in the round of 10. So we get to see who that's going to be. That has to be a little bit of a bad feeling, right? It's like you just need top 3 to get it out of your group.
Yeah, it's a different way that we organize the tournament this time around, and I welcome this. I think these kind of changes are good, and we'll see if we keep this throughout, going into next year, I should say, or not. But yeah, I got to say we had some amazing games in Group A. Again, looking like Rogue is probably going to be advancing. Yun in hot water, but we got to see how the rest of these matches in the group go. But yeah, very likely that Rogue is just going to easily advance, as expected.
Yeah, you would always expect that. Now, looking at today, we haven't seen this group as of yet. Dark, Maru, Creator, DRG, Hero. I think it's a really exciting group. And I don't know what to think about who's going to actually end up advancing here, Tasteless. Like, obviously, Dark and Maru seem like solid picks.
I mean, they always are, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, Hero's always dangerous, and Creator is actually playing really well. Who's going to get that 3rd spot?
We're going to go to the interview now, guys, and then we're going to hop into our games. Andy, go
right,
ahead.
in Group A interview, we had some very candid answers from the players. So now we're going to have an interview with the Group B players. They are Dark, Maru, and Creator, and DRG, and Hero, who is not here yet. Hello. So let's take a look at the atmosphere in Group B. All right, please put up your hand if you think this group is good for you. Nobody's putting up their hand. All right, Hero, you put up your hand. Okay, Dark. Dark, you're the tier 1 Zerg. You didn't put your hand up. What is that? Well, I think all the players in this group are tier 1 players. So I think anybody can get eliminated here. All right, Maru. You also didn't put up your hand. What is that? Well, I think Group A is the easier one when I look at it. So you're kind of disappointed, okay. Right, Hero. Hero, why did you put up your hand? And he's not here. Just a microphone. Okay, Hero. Thank you for your answer. You showed a lot of confidence, Hero. All right, next, DRG. DRG, you also didn't put up your hand. What's that? Well, I feel like I shouldn't be putting up my hand right now. If I was in Group A, I probably would have done it. But, being in Group B, I cannot afford to put up my hand. All right, Creator. You've made it past the round of 16 after 10 years, Creator, and everybody was celebrating for you. So how's it been? Well, I mean, this group consists of all the formidable players, so it's really hard to expect the results. Oh, Hero, you're back now. All right, Hero. Do you think this group is a good one for you? Well, did I say that this group was good? I can't remember. Well, having a look at Group A and B, I don't think there is an easy group by definition, but this group, I don't think it's too hard. As a matter of fact, a few days ago, you beat Cero in an online match. So I think you're pretty confident today in the matchup against Zerg. So what do you think? Well, I did beat Cero and that raised my confidence level. But after that, I also and after that, Scarlet also beat Cero. So you know. But these days, my matches against Zerg have been really good. So Dark, you'll be going up against Hero today. So are you nervous today? Well, I feel like out of the all Protoss, I think the two top players are in my group. I think he's referring to Creator and Hero. So I'm gonna try my best today. And Dark actually made and Maru actually said he wishes that Protoss eliminates all the Zergs in his prior interview. And he also didn't like the map pool back then. So now we have 2 new maps. How do you feel? You know, nothing has changed that much. I still feel indifferent. I think the players themselves need to change in this group, not the maps. So are you kind of worried ahead of the match? You know, honestly speaking, I didn't really want to go up against him. Right, Creator, a question for you. Okay, do you have a walkover player in mind? One player that's gonna grant you free win. Not really. I think all the other players think of me as a walkover player. Alright, DRG. DRG, who is the player you're looking forward to beating? I don't think there is a player that I can confidently say. But my initial plan was that Dark and Maru is gonna go advance no matter what. So I was probably looking for the bottom 3, but it's still very difficult for me. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna win any match today. Oh well, this is quite contrasting to Group A interview. Alright, Dark, who is this player that you're gonna get a free win from? Definitely not in this group, but I think 4 players from Group A is gonna give free win. So it's really disappointing that I was placed in Group B. Well, the atmosphere is clearly different. Alright, so before we get into the match, anything else you want to say? You first, Dark. Well, you know, Maru's been smiling the whole time, so I'm quite fearful of him. But today I'm gonna try to spar with him well. Alright, Maru, what about you? Well, today I'll try to get at least 1 win. Very humble, Maru. Alright, next one, Hero. I'll try to play without getting nervous, without pressure. Alright, DRG. You know, I'll try to play a satisfactory match with my current skills. And last one, Creator. Well, I think everybody doesn't expect me to advance, but I'll try to change that thought. Alright, so there was an interview with the 5 players in Group B. Who is gonna get a good start for this season in the round of 10? We'll kick off the match now.
All right, we're ready to get day 1 of Group B started here. Yeah, man, I mean, we've got some heavyweights for sure in this group. I mean, you look at Dark and Maru, and you got to expect both of these guys to advance, but we could have some surprises. We'll see.
Yeah. I think it is definitely a possibility that something crazy happens throughout the group and one of our 2 big heavy hitters doesn't make it through. But I mean, it doesn't seem very likely. But I mean, the skill levels of everyone is still in flux, right? Like,
for sure,
you see
absolutely.
Creator improving, Hero is kind of new to being back. DRG, I mean, he's here. He's had
always
moments
strong.
of brilliance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as he's active, he's always able to bring in some great results, so you certainly don't want to count him out.
And if you string enough moments of brilliance together, you have like a period of brilliance, and that's what you need to get to the next round.
That's how you win a GSL, if you can keep it up, man. So we're going to be going into this again, and this is new for us as well, but no one is getting eliminated today. Nobody is necessarily 100% advancing today, so keep that in mind. It'll still be the best of 3s that we're kind of rotating through, but not with the same expected results if you're if you're used to watching GSL for a long time, keep that in mind.
Yeah, no one's getting eliminated today. You could literally go 0-4 and it doesn't guarantee that you're out. And you can go 4-0 and it probably doesn't. I bet you if you go 4-0, you're going to get out.
You would get out, but
you probably go 0-6 after that, and you're still getting third.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is the new format that we're going to be using, and I'm looking forward to it. And I want to start these games, Artosis.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting it going right away.
I feel like this is one of our slowest starts for a GSL. I feel like normally we just jump right into it. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, you're.
Oh, now I know why. Okay, so a player requested.
I was going to tell you that you were wrong too, but I guess.
No,
I guess it turns out you were
right. Right. Okay, I think we're getting closer to actually starting this. I was like, we're not normally on camera for this long.
Damn. Dark has a fresh haircut, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's looking pretty fresh, and he's going to be playing most likely pretty well here today. Consistently one of our top 4 players, always looking very strong here in Korea. Delivering Zerg in his own way. And he's going to be going up against Maru to start this off. So, I mean, this really could be any GSL finals, but it's going to happen to be in the round of 10.
Yeah, it's it's a good thing that this doesn't mean all that much. Like, this is very likely to be the match that decides who goes directly to the round of 4, though. Because one of these guys should end up winning the group. And
let's keep in mind that, these are 2 players that have to face off oftentimes in finals or quarterfinals, and they're very much aware that, later on in this tournament they could be meeting again. So they may be a bit more measured with what they want to show here today. They may have some more special stuff they're going to be saving for the later part of the tournament, because that's how you really think. If you're a championship player multiple time, you have to take each phase of the tournament and figure out which your best strats to dole out.
Yeah, that's interesting to bring that up, because a lot of times I'm like, no, I don't think that'll happen. But these 2 are of the level that you could see something held back.
Yeah, I think so. And we're ready to hop into our game, guys. Golden Wall is where we started off in Group B of the round of 10. Let's go.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Onside Gaming, Maru.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen Golden Wall. I'm excited. It does look like Maru is going for a command center first. That's really been gaining a lot of popularity.
Yeah, and we've seen this a little bit more in ASL in the last couple of years, but basically going for super greedy plays that don't really make sense, especially if you're laddering. But they do make sense if you're playing in a best of 5 or a best of 7. If you're in a situation where you're going to have enough games that you're going to have to rotate through, this is just like a really greedy way to play, and it's a little bit gambly. But, if you get away with going command center first and they do something pretty mid-range, like, get some tech while they're expanding, the person that has the greedy play gets ahead. It's basically the exact opposite of, like, going all in at the start. It's like you're going all in into the mid-game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, something like that. It's like economic greed, economic cheese, some people call it. But, I think on Golden Wall, the way that Maru's doing it is pretty darn safe. Even if you go pool first, like, he's walling his main ramp. You're not going to have that hard of a time defending that. And you can just float the command center back, so it's not like Zerg can actually even attack you back there.
Right.
So it's like an intelligent way that Maru's going about it. And because he's expanding back there, it's almost certain that he's going to do, like, a parade push across the bottom of the map.
Very likely.
Which... I mean, I think that that's a fine way to open up here on Golden Wall, because don't forget, if we get, like, standard macro games, the bases that Zerg start getting in the top right, like, you can't get there.
I think that the top
it's
right
like trying to get to the, what's the name of that mountain where you throw the ring into it?
Mordor?
Mordor.
Yeah.
It's like getting to Mordor.
I'm like Mount Everest.
Yeah, Mount Everest, sure you put the ring.
Yeah. No, I think you're correct on that. The top right expansion on this map for the Zerg is pretty busted. It's one of these maps where, because you're both starting out in the bottom, sharing either side of the bottom, that, yeah, if the Zerg can expand further and further and further away, it's always going to favor them. And so basically carving out entry into the lower third of the map and pushing that and you know, kind of killing the Zerg from the inside out is a perfectly acceptable way to play the game. You know, if you can get in there and take out the lair, the hive, and you know, almost always all the tech buildings in the game are made in the first two, you know, base locations for the Zerg.
Yeah.
And so it's one of these things where, like, yeah, they could still have that base in the top right, but you know, eroding all of the infrastructure that Zerg has is a totally acceptable way to play, and maybe even a preferable way to play on a map like this.
Yeah, I think it's there's definitely something to that. Now, Dark knows about what's going on. Like, he sees the Marines back there. There would be no other reason for them to be back there. So how does he want to go about playing this? You can leave your minerals up to slow the Terran push, or you can open them and try to actually fight the Terran. What would you do, Tasteless? Would you fight Maru, or would you hide?
I would disconnect. That's what I would do. I would unplug my Ethernet cord and run.
Always a strong move.
We were just talking about this before the show, that like people that are still like disconnecting when they lose in StarCraft, where I'm like, okay, you have to be like kind of old if you're still playing this game now, right? Like, you really haven't matured yet into this one thing. So
immature online gamers? No, I've never heard of such a thing, Tasteless.
I thought only sophisticated people play online games. But,
yeah.
So, by the way, it's not like it's any secret to Maru. I'm sorry, to Dark as to what Maru's doing. I mean, if you don't see them take that base, it's very obvious. But that doesn't mean that it's defendable, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's basically, and you were kind of talking about this earlier, there's two ways to do it. Either open that up and try to take a fight down there, or try to hold them off at a distance.
Well, honestly, I would like to see Dark maybe throw down whatever the layer tech is going to be. I'd imagine it's going to be Mutalisks at his third base. That would be really great to see. He has spread some creep in his main. He's spreading it below the minerals as well. And he has a lot of queens, so he's going to have, like, some defense against this. I really like all the creep he's putting down, I have to say. And look, that's good placement on the Evos. That's going to take a long time for Maru to get there.
Yeah, and just trying to clean up anything that he can over here is definitely going to be the play. And it looks like there's actually nothing up in the main. I'm kind of surprised by that. I wonder if that was almost a misclick there for a second to have actually no queens up here. And I mean, Maru's going to get really favorable exchanges here, because we're getting to the tipping point where the transfuses don't work. I don't even get it, man. Like, that was crazy to me that there was nothing ready for that.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like Dark didn't believe that Maru would go to the main base. It looks like he was kind of zoning in an area where he could respond to the edge of his creep, or maybe a drop into the natural, but definitely that drop in the main was very painful indeed. And now Maru's coming with even more units. Not looking super hot for Dark here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of stunned that that worked as well as it did. I mean, most of the time when we see two medevacs out on the map, we expect overlords and creep tumors to drop, maybe. But in this case, it was like, I mean, he just did so much damage into the main, and that's a big hiccup as far as development goes coming into this, you know.
A lot of roaches being made. Those 1-1 upgrades still on the way here, well ahead of Maru's upgrades at least. Has a few units in the main base. Looks like Maru going to go around the long way, drop way in the back here. Dark does see it now. Let's see what type of damage Maru can get done this time.
Okay, so very easily deflected. Does not lose that medevac, which is extremely important. You can build that into the rest of the push that's going to be coming here shortly. And I kind of thought Terran would have attacked already, but it hasn't happened. And instead we see a push coming out. No, it's not even a full push because the tanks are staying there. I don't know. Does this seem a little bit weird to you? I mean, now Zerg's going to grow into that, you know, busted top right location that's just hard to kind of reach and engage with.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Maru was going to go more heavily with it, but he's just going for a macro play from here, it looks like. Like, he's gotten that base. He's already gotten some damage done. Like, look at the numbers. The numbers don't really lie. Maru's up in army supply against a roach-based army, which is insane. And then also worker-wise, like, Maru's economy is very, very healthy. So he's in good shape right now. Maybe, yeah, like, I think it definitely can be hard to do a dedicated push into the main base if it's not mined out, like trying to ferry things back and forth there. I think things can go wrong with that, you know, the amount of time that it takes. Zerg can expand all over the place, but we'll see if he still goes for it. A huge drop going towards the main base right now.
I don't think he can do this with that many lings down there. So he backs up. And yeah, I mean, I guess I just kind of thought that it would be time to start to push up here, but I guess Maru thinks otherwise. Now, he did quietly move these Marines up here, but there's more than enough Roaches making figure eights over there at the expansion that there's no way that he's going to be able to get in there and do anything. And I think we're getting to the point where, yeah, I mean, Maru basically has to attack here, because once Zerg takes that top right base, and I would actually beat me to it, and then expands to the space we have on screen now, this is where, like, you are going to, you need to end the game where the Zerg's going to just get out of hand. The question is, does he have enough to actually do that? I mean, this is really going to be most likely the climax of this whole game here.
Well, there's a couple Vipers being made which can really swing a battle against this type of army, but Maru is bringing everything he has to bear right now. Baneling speed not quite done. This is a lot of siege tanks, a fair amount of Marauders, and a lot of Marines. Upgrades are even right now. We will see Dark actually pull ahead shortly, but he may have to engage before that.
So he's taken a pretty conservative position here. He denied that fifth base that's not far from the top right, but he hasn't pushed any further. Dark's got a very good creep spread. It looks like Maru might try to skate above that. And I don't feel like we ever cast games where Terrans push up here, but here we are.
Yeah, he's brought a lot of units up here. Clearing that creep has done a great job. Don't forget the amount of queens lost at the beginning, right? So the creep spread is not as good as it could have been. But he's spreading out these tanks, has a lot of Marines and Marauders, and here we go. Dark coming forward with absolutely everything. The Banelings rolling in. Oh my God, Dark is smashing through this so quickly.
And honestly, I mean, this is why we expect the Terran to attack a little bit earlier, is, you know, the Zerg does get out of hand if they grow to be this big, especially on a map where the spawn locations are where they are. So, like, I don't know how Maru wants to play this. We could get into a situation where he keeps growing into the bottom as Zerg tries to occupy the, that fifth base once again.
I wonder, like, he's going towards the main. Obviously, he's not actually going towards the main. This is like a fake out.
Yeah.
But with the Ultralisk Cavern coming up, great upgrades for Dark here as well. He's already got Vipers. I mean, Maru is doing some other things as well, right? Like, he's getting into Ghosts, which is going to be very important. Starts another command center there, takes the gold. So definitely some things going on for him as well, but Dark is getting awfully big right now.
Yeah, I think that Dark is, at this point, probably too big to fail, but we'll see what Maru can do. I mean, he's basically the best of the best when it comes to, split map games. A lot of times it seems like that can go pretty well for Zerg, but Maru makes it look sometimes like it's stronger for the Terran. But Dark has his own ambitions in this game as well, and I think he's basically decided that he's big enough that it's worth trading into the Terran and start attacking. He's got Lings coming down into the bottom, and a good setup to spring an attack over here on the top as well.
Man, this is painful for Maru right now. He's getting hit absolutely everywhere. So Black Cloud's coming down once again. I mean, he's losing a lot, Tasteless. This little counterattack that Dark is doing, and by the way, expanding down to that side as well, he is just taking everywhere and dealing damage while he does it.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I mean, these Lings actually doing way more damage than one would even expect down there in the bottom. And, he's not done. He is going to dump more resources back into supply, hitting the ceiling at 199 before he's going to come in and take a couple more swipes. And I just don't see a way that Terran can recover unless you just live through attack after attack after attack, and then eventually, the Zerg has drained their resources on their side of the map where the Terran still has room to grow. But I think that is the only way that Terran could recover from this.
If Maru is able to bring this game back and take this down, that is going to be very, very impressive. The map is big. Dark is starting to hit all over the place, and it takes Maru a long time to get anywhere to stop this, right? Like, okay, he comes down, but already a canceled command center, 9 more SCVs dead. Look at this, Dark hitting over here as well. Not as good an attack right there. to be fair.
I mean, this really shows why, you know, Terran pushing early on and succeeding with that is oftentimes how TVZs are won. You know, and you're seeing why is, I mean, Dark has so much of the map now that it's insane.
He has a lot of bases. There's 4, 5, 6, 7 bases right now.
Yeah.
So that's looking pretty strong. He's getting into a bunch of ultras as well, which is kind of Dark's key unit that he's really good with, that he really likes. Look at the amount of damage dealt on both sides. Like, only 3 drones have died this game. So Dark has made, like, you know, a very healthy economy and not had to replenish it at all.
Yeah. Now things have quieted down a little bit, but you know, it is Dark in the process of mustering another army to come swing in here and hit big. There's a quiet push down here in the bottom. I'm not sure if this is going to do that much. It's going to be met with Lings and Ultras and Veins.
Dark just kind of, I'm not sure what that was, a move command through for a moment. And then a little counterattack here where Maru's trying to expand once again. All right, well, some snipes getting off. An Ultra running into the thick of things here. And the command center is going to be blown up here, filed down. Very well done from Dark.
Yeah, Dark going to continue to press up here. Good kiting, but he is going to manage to swing these Banes over here to where these SCVs are and engage there.
A very tough game. Like, everything is falling apart for Maru right now. He's been down 50-ish supply for a very long time now. And his income is, like, not even close. You know, it's like 60% of what Dark is mining.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's brutal here. And again, this all goes back to, I think, the passivity that we saw from Maru. You know, we had this one great drop that killed the Queens, and I thought that was going to be, you know, it was going to be like a 1-2 punch. He has that one hit, and then the second punch is going to be the push. And then I think Maru kind of, I don't know, this is honestly one of the weirdest games I've casted of Maru because it doesn't line up with the ways that he normally plays. Like, the decision to try to push the top right. Do we ever see Terrans really try that?
I mean, we've seen it. It generally fails.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is it
the,
feels like he's playing wrong. But
the thing is, I actually, when he set out to do it, it was like a very healthy Siege Tank count, a decent Marauder count. He had done damage. It was equal upgrades. So I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe he has it here. And I mean, he must have been thinking that too. It's not like Maru is in the business of making terrible choices all game.
yeah, right.
But Dark just had like kind of easily enough there. And now you see that Maru's taxed everywhere. Like, Dark just sends units one way and then sends them another way, and you know, he's throwing down his Viper spells, Ultras are coming in, look at this. Baneling's just rolling towards his base. Dark doesn't care if he loses that. And like, how do you weather this as Maru?
Well, I mean, it's hard, right? You know, Terran can grow out to the top left, but nowhere near as easily as Zerg. I mean, one way to think about this is like, it's the quadrant rule for Terran. It's true in both of the StarCrafts, is that the Terran usually doesn't take more than a fourth of the map. It's kind of hard to have Terran have a map split. It doesn't mean it never happens, because it does, but, you know, it's hard for Terran to, like, you know, expand, let's say, like, Terran starts at the bottom left, it's hard to expand to the top left. We don't see as many games where that happens. Although when we do see it tomorrow, you know.
That's very true. But this game, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. He's lost 86 SCVs so far. Dark just relentless. Like, look at this. This is something that we see with Dark as well. When he gets his economy up to where he wants it, which is 80 to 90 drones, he just won't stop. He just keeps coming. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, you can be efficient sometimes, but if he gets damaged sometimes, you're in hot water.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to come out here once more. And, you know, again, it's hard for Maru to try to soak up these resources. He did force a lift. And, you know, I said this earlier, but I really firmly believe this. The only way that Maru wins this is to drag this game out into like a half hour. And basically,
that would have to be it, yeah.
You know, if you look at where the Zerg is, there really aren't any expansions that the Zerg can take. If you were to draw a line right down the middle. The problem is because the Zerg has so many bases, we're seeing exchanges like this where the Terran is losing chunk after chunk of the army. In this case, it's nearly max to 120 supply. And so yeah, I think the only way that he can do it is to make the Zerg mine out all the resources on the center right. And maybe pressure the Zerg into expanding into that one base to the top left, not in the very corner, but just adjacent to that.
Yeah. But look at this. Dark is taking another base at the bottom of the map. He's really controlling this area. Maru basically can't do anything there anymore, which means his main base can be attacked from that angle as well. Dark just looks so unstoppable in this position. I think Maru's going to GG any second, honestly. There's just, everything's on fire. He's barely above 100 supply.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing left that he can do, really. Actually, a lot of his SCVs aren't even mining there. They're idle.
And look, he's actually been more cost efficient than Dark. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's
He's actually been more cost efficient by like 5,000 minerals. I didn't catch the gas count, but does that matter when Zerg gets this much of the map? And the answer has always been, will always be no.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And again, it's why the burden on the Terran is to try to end the game, where a lot of times Zergs want to try to draw the game out.
Nice catch.
Oops.
Good catch there.
Yeah.
And moving on to creep a little bit here.
This is so brave, considering, maybe even foolish, I should say. I mean,
Well,
with the supplies the way they are.
I think he knows he's dead, so he's just like doing something, right? You feel like you gotta use your units.
GG. Well,
yeah, it was a good reminder of what can be so tough TVZ and Golden Wall. I'm kind of surprised that it even made it in, because every memory I have of that map for Terran vs. Zerg is Zerg just like getting bases that you basically cannot attack and then killing you.
Yeah. That was a rough one, man. You know, Maru, again, I don't agree with all of his decisions, but it is what it is. It did not pay off. Dark is up with a 1-0 lead right now. How is game 2 going to go? We're going to go for Hardwire for that.
Okay. Well, I think that this is going to be a lot easier for Maru to try to make something happen here. There's no base like further away than Dark's main. You know, that's what the thing is about Golden Wall, is that there's just like a base that is so far away that it doesn't really, it's not very attackable. But here we go, Hardwire. See if Maru can pick up a map. Every single map is very important here. This is not like the regular group phase where you don't care if you win one map in a match that you lose. Here, every
counts.
map can make a difference on your seeding.
Yeah, every game is built into your overall score. Very important to note, and I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, I mean, this should be a better map here for Maru, and hopefully a better game for him as well. Otherwise, Dark's going to 2-0 this to start things off.
Well, we're going to get that started in just a second. Feeling a little bit nervous for Maru. Dark looked pretty darn good there.
He looked
was
very
out of
strong.
position.
Let's see what happens. We're ready for game 2. Let's go.
GSL Season 1. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Onside Gaming, Maru.
So, just a hatchery first from Dark here. Maru looks like he's going command center first. Once again.
If I'm Dark in that last game, I probably would just play an ordinary game again this time around. I don't think you need to do anything tricky or surprising.
Yeah.
From Canada, welcome.
What's up,
it's
man?
so cool to have people in the studio again. Welcome, everybody. It was 2 lonely years here in the GSL studio with no audiences.
Well, I was here with you, Tasteless.
Yeah, I was so alone. No, I mean, just having people come down here, and I don't know, it's fun. So for those of you guys watching from home, you can come down to the studio. I think our capacity is still limited there's like some COVID restrictions, so we can't have like, I think, how many people can fit in here?
I honestly don't know
I think we
what,
can have
if
a couple
any
hundred.
restrictions are here.
No, I think they're going to lift the restrictions next week, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I think right now there's some rule where it's like we can't have like the same number that we would normally have. I think it has to be half or something like that. So anyways,
right?
you're going to probably come a little bit earlier, but I think things are going to be back on normal soon. Back to normal soon, excuse me.
So we have a Reaper coming up here after that Command Center first. I do like the increased Command Center first plays. I really, really do, Tasteless. I think that stuff like this actually helps games to get much more healthy metas where, like, if everyone just goes Command Center first a whole lot, it will force Zergs to do things like pool first more often, and it'll bring back more of an equilibrium, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well, you're going to get some free wins with those pool first, but the games where you don't get the free wins and suddenly, like, you're not, you know, in such a great position from just a straight hatch first. I like it. I like watching metagame corrections like this occur.
It's kind of funny, like, you know, now that we're doing 2 StarCraft leagues, GSL and ASL, it's funny to see one trend in one league kind of pick up in the other. And I think that we've seen that here with CC first and GSL, where it's like we would watch a lot of games where, like, if there's a best of 5 or a best of 7 in StarCraft 1 or 2 of the games is always CC first. And I actually feel like the person we saw do that the most was Flash. Am I wrong about this? I think it was.
I don't think we see him CC first that often. He's so much better that he normally doesn't take that many risks, but...
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I just remember having these games where I'd watch Flash play and be like, I can't believe he gets away with this and beats everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, to get an edge and then be Flash and do that, it's like, man, that's brutal.
A little bit of a Speedling run in here. He does end up getting a single SCV and some lost mining time. A little bit of damage there, but cleaned up relatively efficiently from Maru. This Hellion's popping out just the right time. Cloak Banshee's on the way. That third Command Center is going to be finishing up as well.
It's important to note that this game cannot look like the last game because the map is so different. Golden Wall is kind of in its own category.
Oh, for sure.
And we don't really have any other maps like it that I can think of.
Oh, it's a very original map.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really have anything like it. You know, I actually I kind of dig Golden Wall some. Not TVZ, but we've had some very interesting PVTs there.
We've had
I think
some good mirror
PVZ
matchup
can be
games.
really cool there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, mirror matchup games, absolutely. We've had insane TVTs there, I recall.
You know what's funny? It's like sometimes the weirdest maps actually are best for mirror matchups because you can have all these strange features on it.
Yeah,
but
there's no balance issue.
Yeah, we're just like, well, no matter what, one of you guys is right. The problem is not the race you're playing, by the way. You know?
Yeah, which definitely can happen on other maps.
Sure.
So yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. Like the most insane maps, you can find amazing games with mirrors. But look at this, we have a Nidus coming up. And this is, I mean, this is a greedy build from Maru. He barely has any units right now.
Yeah, and so on paper, Dark strategy is very favorable, but we're going to see how it is executed. Overseer is creeping up here to the north.
And in comes a Cloaked Banshee here, over to the third base. Look at this, the Ling's hitting the front wall. He's, oh god, I think Maru's just gonna die Tasteless.
Yeah, well, these Lings are enough of a distraction here that I guess both these sets of Lings are, that this is going to come out, Queen's Lings, you name it, and he's got a second Nidus that's gonna come right over here by the infrastructure.
Oh boy. Okay, swaps the add-ons, trying to get a tank, trying to get a medevac. Has a couple Banshees. Where is that other Banshee? It is flying home right now, but there's an Overseer, so it's going to be hard to make the Cloaked Banshees do as much work as he's looking for. Double Nidus now, and he's going to lose Stim as well.
Oh my god, that could be a death sentence right there. I mean, not having Stim. Sometimes if we just see that upgrade snipe, that's enough to completely ruin the game, but this is just going to be a snowball effect.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. He's making another Nidus at the natural, and that's actually using up all the Banshee damage. Picks up the Siege tank that he gets and sieges it. Let's see if he can hold on still. Like, is there a chance here that Maru can come back from this deficit? He's falling way down in workers at the moment. More Lings popping out. Don't forget, Dark doesn't have other things going on. He is low on workers. This is like all he's done is make Queens and Lings.
Yeah. He's still trying to fight back as best he can. The Banshee, yeah, he can see it now. That's about to be sniped down here as well. The saving grace is going to be the siege tank that's wedged just behind the barracks and the depot.
Look at this. Maru, despite losing that stim upgrade, doing a fantastic job here. He is starting to push the queens way back. He's killed a Nidus. Another Nidus is coming. SCV's coming up to fight.
Yeah, I just don't know how much more healing he's going to have here. He's going to push back a little bit further. More queens are going to pop out. Some of them instantly gunned down here. And you know what? I color me amazed. That is really something else. And he did that while keeping 33 workers.
Yeah, it's not so bad when you have 3 command centers. You know, 3 orbitals at 3 different mining locations. So that was a pretty high quality hold. I thought when Stim went down that he was going to be just completely screwed, but you know, it is a Ling Queen attack, so the actual DPS once you get rid of the Lings goes down pretty substantially.
It doesn't have the same kind of sustainability as it, you know, if you go for roaches.
Once again, trying to go for Stim right now. Now with roaches out, turning into Ravagers, blocking in a bunch of his units. LOL. Okay.
Now the problem is that even though Maru held the first attack, he might have been a little bit too ambitious by landing that 3rd CC down there, and that just causes the Terran to spread out. And with Ravagers here, he can actually start to pelt the tanks. And without the tanks, it's just very hard to have any kind of staying power here. If the numbers get high enough. More Lings and Roaches are coming out, another Queen sniped.
But Maru's like doing an admirable job here. He's pushing everything back once again. Does bring a tank up to that high ground and sieges it. Did lose 1 tank already here as well. Has another tank actually outside right now. Maru trying to catch up on workers. Of course, his have been fighting quite a bit also.
So it's not done yet. And again, there's 2 launching pads for attacks here. There's one that's in the main, which it looks like is going to go away. And then there's this other one out here at the natural. So, I mean, Dark has done a pretty impressive job fighting, but it seems like even he realizes this isn't going to work. He has to try to transition into mid-game, and we know that because there's 2 Evo chambers coming down now. Oh, you're kidding me. He's making it again.
Yeah, he's got his creep tumors here to see it. This is so funny. As the units come out, he'll pop in there and do some more damage. We'll see exactly how much. Just sending some Lings out at the moment to harass these workers a little bit. And of course, he does have to boost back. That's just buying Dark a lot of time.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's making the Terran respect the threats the Zerg has here. Behind it, armor and missile attacks are going to be upgraded for Dark, but this seems like a pretty big tempo swing here in Maru's favor. You know, the Zerg has to really commit to doing damage when they do that Nidus play. And so Terran stabilizes, getting the upgrades of their own, but I think we're due for a push in a little bit.
Well, I think that would be the right play here, like force Dark to really field an army. We see the Infestation pit being made. I actually really want to see Infestors here. I think Fungal along with Roach Ravager is probably the best bet for Dark. I absolutely do not think he has time to get up to Hive and make anything happen with that. Like, I don't think he can go up to Viper. It's just, if he gets there, amazing, but Maru should be pushing out. And here comes this first push. No, he's going to Hive. Okay.
Yeah, here he goes.
Going for broke.
Terran's going to come in, and this is honestly kind of a crazy angle that this, you know, nothing makes it so that you need the Evo chambers here. But like he gets there and he's like, "Oh, I'll take that," and just snipes it down.
It's a great pickoff.
Did he get the armor or the missile?
Attack.
He got the attack upgrade. Okay. Kind of an insane.
Which probably, if you're going to lose one, the attack is probably better to lose, honestly.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, if he's going to win this game, eventually he'll go into ultras, and you don't care about range attack for that. Okay, well, Baneling's speed is coming up. He is making some infestors here. I think that is a really good call. A couple well-placed fungals could be amazing. Maru being forced to pick up once again. We have now triple Evo going here for Dark, who has made his way up to 75 drones quite comfortably.
Oh, this is going to be a big catch. He can just, like, kill this before he can even cancel it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a good move. Tunneling Claws about to finish.
And so Maru, you know, he's got a lot of freedom here on the map. I mean, he's able to kind of move around. I mean, this is always one of the unfortunate factors of not going for Spire right away is that Medivacs can basically roam uncontested. And so, this is Dark trying his best to get back into a, manageable position here into mid-game after the all-in was failed.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I think that Maru is doing this just right. Like, he's canceled a base, he got rid of an Evo, I saw him dive on those 2 Infestors, now there's no Infestors out, which is, Infestors can just be a big headache. So he's playing it very well. Interesting to see Drilling Claws on the way, maybe just kind of getting everything at the moment. Some Ghosts coming out here also. And, I was wrong, Dark has lived to his Vipers without too much of a problem. Maru has continued to grow though. And as weird as it feels, I think we're just going to get into like a somewhat normalized macro game after the crazy opener that we had. Well, Dark is, we've talked about this so many times, how Dark is like the best low econ Zerg, like at getting into a macro game. Like, this guy has so many games under his belt against the world's best players where he's at like 40-something drones for forever in terms of StarCraft 2, and he will make it into Hive, and he will battle back cost efficiently and make it like a real game. And he was at like 43 drones forever.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And here we are with 3 Evos, the Ultralisk Scavenger on the way, 4 full energy Vipers flying around.
But I think we are due for a split map game here. And I think Maru really is the best in the whole world, and TY was as well when he was not in the military, but
Maru probably even better though.
Yeah, probably. And so this does put a little bit of pressure on the Zerg to end the game, because a survivalist Terran and split map mines out after the Zerg does. In other words, the Zerg mines out first, and so that is one way that you can just kind of lose. And we were talking about this a little bit in the other game of like, if Maru wins on map 1, it would probably have to be that once he lost control of the mid game. But he's just going to explode. Nope. Woo. I know this exactly. So
painful.
This is going to put some pressure over here onto Dark to try to do something. Ideally start to take out these bases that are going to be built in on the left.
He's opening up the map, continuing that creep spread. Maru is getting some damage here and there on the fringes. But it's almost like, we were joking about it before. It's like none of this damage is going on Dark's permanent record, It's like he's getting damage on the fringes, but Dark's like, that's okay, I'll put down another hatchery there once I kill this army.
Yeah.
And he's taking it slowly but surely in the direction that he wants to go in. You can see his upgrades just continually coming. But Maru, I think, is in much better shape than what we saw in the Golden Wall game. First off, everything is a bit more attackable. But also, he's got a lot of bases. You can see he's into his Ghost right now. He's got a very solid economy at 87 workers, even more than Dark.
It's kind of funny to watch these Marines actually win this engagement. I thought wasn't going to be that important. They're like killing everything. And he's going to pick him up and get right back out. This is quite a long series between these two. Only going into game 2, man.
I'm digging this game. With the opening that it had, it looked so bad for Maru, and then he got the tank and kind of fought back, and then Dark came in again. So a really, really cool opener. But now that we're into this position where it doesn't look like Maru's dead and he's got a hell of a lot of bases, I'm excited to see how he wants to go about actually pushing this down. Because he's got a lot of Ghosts. He's actually adding quite a few mines now. He's getting all sorts of upgrades. Getting like his building armor and everything as well. But Dark is getting out of Ro.10 at this point. Wow. Yeah, look at this. He has the Greater Spire coming, a second Spire as well, so he can get double upgrades there also.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, completely aware that they are going to mine basically everything on the map.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy to see Maru pull this back. But again, it's all on the back of that Nidus attack that came up there. And the Zerg is getting into an uncomfortable spot because you start to expand closer and closer to the Terran, which means the rallying of troops in the pushes gets better and better and better. So it's just like hard to to really deal with.
Oh my God, Tasteless.
Oh my God!
Moments before disaster right here. That was so many ghosts, and Dark just pummeled in with his Ling Bane. But Maru saved some of them. That was obviously not the most efficient play there from Dark, but killing the ghosts, I think 100% worth. Many more ghosts on the way here for Maru, who's continuing to add in those mines also. It's an interesting composition that we're watching him make right now. Right? It's like the main things that we see are mines and ghosts being produced right now. And we've seen a lot of different players bring a lot of different ideas. Like TY generally will mix in more Liberators in a game like this. Right. You know, there was a period where Byun was actually going like Ghost Tank, which I thought was a really cool way to try to answer it. Here, Maru, though, it's like very heavy ghosts, but then also the mines, which, you know, I think the mines are going to be a great idea because, you know, Zerk doesn't, well, they kind of see him coming in, but it makes it very messy for Dark to do anything, especially considering he's a big Ling Bane guy late game.
Yeah.
But I don't think you win with Ghost Mine. And he is adding tanks and everything too, but like, is that how you push him down? I'm lightly surprised that we haven't seen nukes yet.
Yeah, I don't know about nukes. I mean, I know we've seen them a lot in the past, but I always felt like it was not. I don't know. It's kind of reliant on like them being so disorganized in the game, they're not going to deal with it. Where I just feel like maybe APM can be spent better somewhere. Would you agree with that?
So what I do like about nukes is Terran doesn't actually utilize all the gas that's at their disposal. They're very mineral heavy.
This is very interesting, yeah.
So I look at the nukes as only a mineral expense, which makes it like, okay, if you kill a spore, it's even. Kind of. Not exactly, but kind of. You get my meaning.
You don't need a major exchange to make it worthwhile, which that's a good point.
But I mean, if you're going ghost heavy and then also very mine heavy, that's a way to spend more gas than we normally see in late game TVZ.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's still evolving for sure.
Okay, he scans. He's going to see that the Broodlords are inbound. Can he get rid of this hatchery before they come forward? I don't think he can. I think there's going to be just enough here, even before the first Broodling comes out, to deal with this.
I'll get some decent snipes in there as well.
I mean, this is not going to be the end of that. I think the Broodlords are going to just now keep pushing up here towards the center right. Center right and center left bases, by the way, they're going to be extremely important because they're sort of shared. You draw a line through the map horizontally, you could kind of go to either side, you know. So whoever can soak up the most resources on these two bases may end up just winning the game in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. Like one more base in your opponent is such a big deal. Like one base makes up for all sorts of inefficiencies, you know?
Totally, totally.
You can roll Banes into Marauders all day if you have an extra base. Well, the Broods do take that out. We have Thors being added in now. This is really interesting. Look at this. Viking Hellbat Thor. The Hellbats, I think, are going to just be support for the Thors so that Ling Bane Broodling doesn't destroy them, but I'm not entirely sure on that. It's like funny to see them produce as opposed to Hellions, but like that's fine. 4 more factories being made, so Maru is kind of giving up on the bio, isn't he? This is an awesome game. I am really enjoying watching the way that Maru is approaching this. Like, you know, right now, Dark is the sea otter trying to crack the shell. You know, like he's trying to he's trying to get the oyster out of the Terran base, and you know, Maru is the greatest of the oysters, right?
The greatest oyster.
That's what they
That's
eat,
why
right?
they always call
Oysters,
them
or
that.
is it clams?
I believe it's oysters.
Okay. They're very fancy.
But really, Artos, your job is to know everything about animals. That's why we have
true.
you here.
I'm failing there.
Yeah.
But look at this comp. This is like really fascinating. My God. And Neural gets started as he sees the amounts of Thors, which is a cool counter as well. Yeah. See, these are gonna tank a little bit for him right there. I think that's a good. It's a cool way to see Hellbats in the late game because you don't normally, right? Hellbats are kind of an early mid-game unit a lot of the time.
Yeah, you can pretty much forget about them, you know, after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so to see that's kind of novel. I mean, either Dark has to try to end the game, which I actually think he cannot do. Where Maru just needs to drag this out because Dark is going to run out of resources soon here.
Well, if you're...
Oh, God.
My God.
This
Look
is
at the Baneling
comical.
count.
This is like
slightly
brutally
comical.
body blocking Banelings.
Dude, this is even beyond, like, ST levels.
This is like...
That's a good cloak right there.
Yeah, that was a great save there.
Getting some great
horribly
saves as well.
inefficient for Dark, but
yeah.
I don't know that he cares because again,
Well,
he wants to try to end this.
Here's the thing, though. If he doesn't care and he keeps playing like that, that's how Maru's gonna like easy him out of here. It's gonna take a while, but Dark will run out. You can make a switch as Dark here. You can stop going Ling, Bane, and Brood attacks and stuff like that, and you can go more turtled. You can utilize spellcasters a bit more, right? Make a little bit more static D. Utilize these Broodlords for poking. Yeah, I'm not sure which way he's going to go, but I think if he continues to run in like we just saw, I don't think that's the way. I don't think Maru's going to die.
I mean, Dark is... It's important to note, he's basically pushed Terran off into this like upper third of the map. And it doesn't seem like Maru quite has like a response together for this. And it seems like with the Broodlings on the right and then the Ultraling Bane on the left, this may be too much to juggle here for Maru. Look, now another base is going to fall here. And it seems like all the buildup of this tech and these resources is starting to finally kick in.
Maybe. Like,
Well,
I mean,
look,
this is
going for the
annoying to
planetaries. He basically wants to stop. Oh my God, it lives.
Yeah, so that's super inefficient, but he did get 24 SCVs. The thing is, if you kill planetaries right now, like this, you can replace with orbitals and just lift them.
Yeah,
like
but
planetaries, I think, are more important earlier on when you're using them to hold a position, but at this point where it's like Dark coming in being cost inefficient trying to kill a base, and you lift, it's like sometimes much better than having the planetary.
You almost want to have like the orbital surrounded by planetaries, not the planetary surrounded by orbitals. Like,
okay.
I think that actually makes more sense. But I think the idea is he's going to try to force a lead a couple times. This is so many Banes, dude.
It's quite a few Banes. Look at that. The Ultras got stuck. There were so many Banes. Plus that Evolution Chamber placement. Now, that is
Banes
just absurd.
They're all going for the ghosts. Oh, my God. And he's trying to split him. Good cloak.
Well, that was about the most inefficient move ever. But the Broodlords they're getting damage done over here. 5 Thors are being made, so I guess the Broodlords can be cleaned up when those are done. Back come the Ghosts as well. You're not going to have much defense against that. Oh, he brings a Spore over. Look at that. Look at that Spore, Tasteless.
That's pretty cool.
I like that. I guess the Broods are still in trouble, but I'm a fan of that Spore running up there because he needed it against the Ghosts.
Yeah, looks like they're going to barely survive this, but in the meanwhile, you know, Maru is pushed all the way in. I think he's going to get into the main in a second here. Maru has healthy bases he's mining from. I think we are likely to go into a Game 3, Artosis.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any way for Dark to do anything from here. This was such a cool game. What a pleasurable game this has been.
A pleasurable game.
Pleasurable. Straight up.
So
and like, especially with the opening. Think back to the opening, Tasteless.
GG.
I want you to picture that opening in your mind when Maru had to leave everything out of his main base and had like 5 units when the Nidus came in.
Yeah.
And like swapped the add-ons for the factory, got the siege tank out, pushed everything back. A heroic game, no doubt.
This is a crazy series to start this off.
Yes.
I mean, I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be epic, too.
Well, they are really battling for that, you know, the top dog in the group.
Yeah.
Whoever wins this is winning the group already.
Most likely, man. I mean,
well,
you're probably right. If you're a betting man, that's the call. So, I mean, I don't know. Wait, did you see what map 3 is, Artosis?
Mm-mm.
Roughneck. Okay. Roughneck is where we're going to end this.
Ooh, I'm happy. I actually Are you a fan of Roughneck? I don't think you are.
I'm not crazy about it,
No.
but I think with these two, it's going to be interesting.
I like that little tiny little corridor.
Yeah.
You know, that little, that little. I want to see how many Banelings Dark can force through there.
All right, guys. Game 3, Dark vs. Maru, to decide who is the winner in this best of 3.
2022 GSL Season 1. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Onside Gaming, Maru.
I want Maru to go CC first again.
Let's see.
Oh, he's doing it. Hell yeah.
So again, for those who are watching who are students of the game, and you're checking in to be like, all right, what builds do I run now? Be careful with this one.
Yeah,
I remember when I would, you know, I was super young, like maybe 15 years old, 16 years old, watching Star Leagues, you know, with my brother, and I remember being so confused by seeing plays like that, where I'm like, what? That can't be safe. And then like I try it online, I just lose, and I'm like, what? I don't get it. And then eventually I had to realize, oh, okay, it actually is kind of coin flippy.
It is in a manner.
Yeah, but it is, you know, by design. If you think your opponent is someone who plays very, you know, middle of the road, doesn't all in, but obviously is not going to go command center first, people basically don't do that. Then it's a really kind of sneaky way to open up the game and try to take a lead. But if you try this on ladder, you're going to be very disappointed, as you know, there's so much cheese and rushes and stuff like that.
For sure.
But again, in pro play, best of 5, best of 7, I think it's a really smart idea.
Yeah, you know, people don't want to do. People do rush builds on ladders because they're bad and they want like quick win and stuff like that. Whereas here it's like, okay, these guys are playing for real money. Like, this is their careers.
Yeah.
And if Dark is going to continue to 12 pool regularly, his overall earnings are going to go down. So, you know, this is like a hard balance to strike.
But I agree with what you were saying earlier. Like, I'm excited to see a little bit more of this here. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's a good way to game, you know, a system where you become a victor and it's because through a longer series, right?
Yeah.
If it was all down to just one game, if this was like a weird single elimination tournament, you wouldn't see this. Or we would be very surprised if we did see it, right?
Yeah, definitely would change it a bit.
Okay, so again, a bit of a slow start here. We've got the third base for the Zerg being taken. One thing about this map, as I look at it a little bit more, you know, it's obviously wider than it is tall. Does seem like, you know, Zerg doesn't have the ability to take faraway bases and kind of sit on them as easily. There's not actually that many bases on this map.
Yeah, and
You know?
I actually quite like the formation of them. With the rocks kind of like making this artificial choke point. You see the Queen actually getting ready to open that up. But Maru getting 4 bases really should not be difficult, and holding 4 bases really should not be difficult for him. And you know, he's the best expander that Terran has, so it's going to allow him to get a very big economy. And then, you know, there are some fringe bases like top right, bottom left. Those are pretty far out there.
Yeah.
So anytime that's going to be the case, it's going to be a little bit harder for people to defend. Maybe Maru can harass them a bit better.
Do you think that we might see something kind of like the Nidus play from Dark again here? Just because sometimes on maps like this, you know, a player might look at it and be like, well, I don't actually want to try to go toe-to-toe with, Maru here.
Honestly, that game might have been best case scenario for Dark with that opener against Command Center first. Is fast
that's a
third
good
command,
point. Yeah.
And a Banshee was across the map when he pulled the trigger, right? So that's like, what else were you looking for? And he ended up losing in a big 30-minute macro game almost. So
what's funny is like that all in might have worked better if the Command Center first hadn't been pulled off. Isn't that funny? Because like you already kind of get that lead.
Yeah.
So it's like it's tempting to do that because you already feel like you've lost control of the game, but at the same time it may be less effective because you've already lost control of the game.
People, I think it's counterintuitive unless you've actually played a lot of StarCraft and like have measured it, but anytime you can get your like Command Center, Nexus, Hatchery, whatever first, all the stuff that comes after actually comes quicker.
Yeah.
Because you're not like having any sort of stall in your build, so yeah, it really does like catapult you forward. All right, so Lair is almost done here. Double Evo starts, which rules out a possible Nidus.
So the powering continues on. Both sides building up. Notice how Maru's done a very good job of probing the upper right and bottom left. He's basically trying to watch for like a target. Because I don't think that Maru's going to try to push right down the middle anytime soon. I don't think there's a real incentive for that here. I think you basically wait. And now we see the Zerg's play grow into the top, or the center right, I should say, first. He may try to grow above that as well, just the way the creep is going to be spread organically.
And Dark, by the way, has shown us like everything about his play. He's getting 1-1 for Lings and Baneling speed, and we see the macro hatch in the main. So that tells us he's going to go up to Hive on only Ling Bane Queen, which I think is actually going to be a very good choice here. He's getting his creep spread out very, very far. Oh, no, he throws on the Hydralisk Den. Okay. Oh, that's interesting, because normally when you see a quick macro hatch in the main, you're going to see just Ling Bane, right? And then people go into Ultras a little bit later and everything. But here, it looks like he is going to go into Hydras with it as well, which isn't as popular anymore.
Yeah. Interesting to see. I do feel, and tell me if you disagree, but I feel like if we're on maps where these players are, I guess maps that are not like Golden Wall, excuse me, I do feel like Maru's slightly favored. You know what I mean? He's against someone like Dark. Even though Dark's very good, I feel like there's one player that can kind of get ahead of him. In these drawn-out games, it would be him.
Yeah, well, if there is one, you're definitely right about that.
And he's going to push out. And is he going to try to angle this towards the center right? Again, the fourth base, honestly, on this map, whether you take the bottom or the right one as a Zerg, neither are that pushable. You know. But once the Zerg takes the fifth base, you don't really have anywhere that's easy to expand to. I guess maybe the place that's easiest after that is the top right.
You're specifically going really towards Terran. In fact, I mean, maybe even top right would be... Well, it looks like Dark does want to expand to this little kind of pocketed base. He is spreading the creep there even more. The Hydras are starting to pop out. Good 82 drone count. And he is going up to Hive rather quickly as well, so certainly going to be getting into Lurker.
So, again, Maru being very cautious here. He doesn't want to throw anything away early on because he's going to have a push coming a little bit later here. For now, he's basically trying to control the creep up here. Nice connection with that Bane. And on the other hand, Dark is very interested in opening up the map, because if he's going to continue to kind of spread out and start to dominate, he's going to need to have a lot of circulation.
Yeah, I like that he's kind of just opening everything, because it is a very cramped map in a lot of ways. But that's going to play well for his Lurkers later on too, right?
Yeah, I think so. And so he's just in the process of kind of opening this up as much as he can. Zerg is going to get maxed out, and I think we're probably going to see the fifth base taken down here at the bottom in just a little bit. But there's also room to try to attack in here. Now, as far as creep goes, there's nowhere that's really desirable to try to hit from. You know, Maru's actually done a pretty spectacular job keeping creep kind of not in the picture, with the exception of this top right base, which very quietly Dark is, leapfrogging creep tumors up into that location to generate a creep highway there.
Dude, look at this. Look, this game is so interesting in a lot of ways. Maru's going up to 95 SCVs. Okay? That is, like, not even TY really goes 95 SCVs.
It's a lot of workers, man.
That is,
I mean, and that's
just an insane economy. Also, I thought 100% because there's the Hydras out, because normally Ling Bane, I like to see that go into Ultras, right? Like that, it flows very naturally. It feels very good. But he did go the Hydra's Den, so I just kind of assumed that we're going to see Lurkers, but he's going into Ultras from this. It's like there's only a very small amount of Hydras here.
Yeah.
It's very different the way that Dark is playing this. He's got only 9 Hydras. So
well, he might have wanted to throw some Hydras almost like for a visual strategy.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, when you see the Hydras, you want to make a bunch of tanks.
Right, exactly. Like you see one, and then you're like, got it, okay. And that's like the wrong signal. And then you come in here and you're like, why do I have all these tanks? This doesn't help me at all. Like, see this?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's why he's doing it, but it's a guess.
Well, I mean, that certainly went very well for Dark. He's going to kill all the SCVs there and the command center. The Siege Shanks definitely don't do what he was looking for. A great move from Dark. Dark expanding a couple more times during this as well. He has his Ultras coming. And now he's on, like, Lingbane Ultra. And that's going to be hard to play against. He's making 100 lings at a time. 100 lings, Tasteless.
Yeah, and, you know, now he's really growing on the map here. And, you know, this is kind of like the best offense is a good defense. I know it's a bit trite to say something like that, but it's really true right now because the weak point is going to be this base on the center left. Granted, again, there's no creep that gets you there easily, but if he is ready to spring another really powerful attack into this location, I think that there's not a whole lot Terran can do to try to stop the growth into the top right.
This looks so scary. Like, Dark is already getting to that area that we were talking about quite a bit in Golden Wall, where he's got, like, all these different great upgrades. He's got very good creep spread. He's got a ton of bases, man. Look at this. He has 7 bases. 7 bases. Lingbane Ultra just flowing in here. The Viper's coming in for good measure. My God. How do you stop that? No, I'm really asking, how do you stop that,
I don't think you can stop that.
Answer me, Tasteless.
That's the thing, is that's a crippling blow.
It's the second time he killed that base.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think that all you have to do is keep hitting this location over and over and keep growth on your side here for Dark, and you're going to be fine.
And look, Maru's actually been more cost efficient throughout this, but it's another one of those who cares moments where Dark just has so much.
You have
7
so many
base
bases.
against 4.
Yeah. Cost efficiency matters when the game's even, at least as far as economics go.
Yeah, it's like he has 70% more bases or 60% more bases, but Maru's only being 20% more efficient. So it's like, you lose that.
Yeah, I mean,
we can do math here.
It's like if you're, if you're starving to death, then everything that you can eat, you need to eat up, right? Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. And I was thinking, like, then the next part is like, okay, if you're like always full, you don't even have to eat all the food. You don't have to be efficient. That's what I was trying to get at, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
like, if you're sick, you got to take all the medicine. I mean, am I right or what? Like,
whoa.
Listen, guys, make sure you quote me on that. Don't let anybody steal that idea, okay?
Look at this, a mass Zergling drop coming in. Doesn't even use a Nidus, Tasteless. All right, throwing down Parasitic Bomb on the Liberators, busting up. Oh my God.
Just another huge blow here. And those 90 workers that we were talking about early on, it's down to 60. And, he's dropping, he's hitting all these locations. And at this point in time, there's only one expansion that's not taken on the map, and that's the other base that mirrors the one that Maru keeps losing.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Well,
Eventually, Maru's just going to be surrounded with creep. See that water where the overlords are over? That's just going to be creep around that.
It's going to look like an oil spill.
It's going to look like one of the campaign missions where you got to like move through the whole map and kill all the Zerg stuff.
He's going to be sending SCVs down there with rubber gloves, getting the creep off of the seabirds, Yeah. He's like hitting some snipes and everything, but dude, it is crazy. Like, Dark is sitting here on 92 drones. And, like, Maru is the best Terran in the world, and he is sitting here and he literally can't keep his base up. He has all this money, all this economy, all these upgrades, and he can't keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
I don't have a whole lot to tell him, Tasteless, about how to make it so Dark doesn't keep doing this to you.
The Overlord drop, there's a fake incoming over here. He's got Overlord's coming up. They're going to park up over here.
Oh my god, Baneling's rolling in here once again. Does some damage, but actually doesn't really lose any of his ghosts there. Once again, 13 more SCVs fall. Now he's almost 50% more efficient on Dark.
He's got a Nidus coming too.
Yeah. The efficiency here is pretty insane for Maru. But like, he's gonna eventually run out of these bases. Oh my
it's
god.
brutal.
Just every little thing.
Dark is blowing me away here with how well he's playing. I almost feel like my take on this map is like actually the opposite. It's like, no. It's really easy for the Zerg to take both the other bases.
Well, I guess when you have your 90+ drone economy and you're just like killing everything over and over inefficiently and getting ahead because of it, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dark just can't be stopped. I mean, this really does look like, it's too big to fail. And again, it's all hinged on this. If Maru loses this base a couple more times, he might not end up getting enough resources to remake the defenses he needs here.
Do you think, though, because like Maru's kept his supply relatively high, can he stabilize at some point? Because he's being like, he's been very efficient. He's getting more efficient. Yeah. It's just Dark is taking everything. He's sucking up all the resources.
I'm not sure because, I mean, the edge is getting so insanely overwhelming, especially with this Nidus in the main, where he can now traffic as many units into the main as he wants. He's going to just pretty quickly pry open any ability to defend here. Oh, okay, hold on. These ghosts are actually going to gun this down as well. All right, maybe he's going to hang on a little bit longer. I thought the Nidus was going to actually finish and there was going to be this flood of units coming out, but I guess when you're barely on 5 bases, it's kind of not that hard to defend everything. You're done making all the infrastructure you needed, so.
Yeah. Man, that's annoying. So yeah, look at that, 25K to 18K units lost. Oof. More Banelings rolling in to kill even more SCVs. I think we need to switch off an SCV-based economy, go to a mule-based economy, Tasteless.
You might as well, right?
We need to send these SCVs onto vacation.
Crazy. Okay, here comes another Nidus. And again, I mean, maybe in a perfect world for Terran, you hang on a little bit further and eventually you squeeze out that one little expansion at the top. Take that and try to draw the game out. But again, the Zerg does not have to have every Baneling connect perfectly in a moment like this.
I haven't seen Maru like attack anything in a long time, which makes me worried as well. Yeah, look at this. In come the Overseers, so suddenly the Ghost taking big damage. He has made some Corruptors as well, so...
What an insane exchange that is.
Yeah. Maru holds on.
Yeah, I mean, he
holds on.
He's tenacious, man.
He's got a lot of ghosts.
Pro gamer version of that one mission in the campaign where you got to like stay alive for what, like 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and he's 50% more efficient. If he can hold on to this many bases and you stay 50% more efficient, Dark is up 2 bases, so it's like 7 against 5. You win that, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, let's see.
I'm just trying to like look at it purely like how efficient do you have to, how efficient, right? Because if he's up only 2 bases, right? So that's like 40% more bases than you, but you're 50% more efficient. Doesn't that mean that you end up winning? I think.
Maybe. I guess if you could try to push back out after that, you know.
Well, you're both going to like run out of stuff, but you're going to have 10% more, I guess. I don't know. Someone could check my math.
But I guess the simplest way to put it is the number of times we see Banelings travel an insane distance and then the Ghosts cloak and the Banelings don't kill them. One little victory there for the Terran.
Yeah, that's very true. Ghosts, they tank Banes well.
Yeah. As long as they're not killed off.
Oh, Dark screwed up and only has +2 missile attacks.
Yeah, how embarrassing.
All right, gonna come in here with his Corruptors and take that out. Okay, the Ultra Queen Ling Bane comes in, some Fungals as well. Once again, very efficient for Maru, but loses a bunch more SCVs during all of this, and that was over at this base once again. 34 SCVs against 91 drones. I wonder if there is a way, as Dark, to suddenly turn this off and turn into the most efficient play you can come up with. And then be like, ha!
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, the problem is that the Terran is now at the point where they've held off enough. We're actually seeing attacks on the Zerg side of the map. You know, that's where we're at now. And, you know, Terran's at 150 supply. He's going to be maxed out pretty soon. I mean, the Zerg basically tried smothering the Terran over and over again, and it hasn't really worked. By the way, that center left base is going to mine out. Just in another minute or two here.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not a place that he needs to defend either. So the reason why that matters is that he can actually just lift the orbital off and ditch the location and have an easier time defending this base in the very top center and the one above it. And both these bases are pretty, oh my God, hold up.
Well, this is a lot of Dark's units coming in once again. Okay, clears out that planetary, but there's still a lot left over here for Maru. Here's a question for you.
Yeah, please.
And this relates to what I was trying to figure out with math before. Once this base is gone, like you say, you don't really have to think about it. You can just lift it off. Should Maru here just focus on keeping that base that just died in the base right to the north of it that you've been talking about? Like, just focus on that, or does he actually need to attack top right, bottom left?
I mean, if he was going to attack top right, bottom left, I think he'd do it with like 1 medevac and 8 Marines. You know, something
just
where it's like not
a little bit of multitasking type thing.
Yeah, you're not really like trying to, you know, push in and overtake the Zerg and win that.
I don't think you can kill that area, can you?
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't think Maru thinks so either. He hasn't decided to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's basically going for an exhaust game where the Zerg's going to run out of everything. Crazy engage here. And so, I mean, I guess it's not mined out fully, but again, not as important of a location right now.
Yeah, maybe you just leave that for now. That's been attacked so many times. That's where, okay. This space is important. If Zerg gets at 0% to win is Terran.
Well, the thing is, I don't think if it's Zerg gets it, if Zerg keeps it.
Yeah.
Because,
totally.
I mean, you can literally defend your base and push that location at pretty much the same time.
No, if the hatchery finishes, Maru gets kicked out of
Those
the game.
are the lose conditions. We see him just be eliminated on the screen.
He still has plenty of army and everything.
Man, all right, a lot of Banes coming here. It's crazy. It's like if Maru were to lose any of the one bases that he's had, one functioning bases that he's had, and be kept off that for a little bit, he would actually have been eliminated. But it hasn't happened yet. Dark has not managed to get that killing blow.
You know, I think if you did one, like 3 Overlord drop or 1 Nidus into the main on the left-hand side, like bottom left, if you did something like that, you could pull enough of Maru's army out of the way, you could probably kill one of these bases again. And it feels like Maru is on the edge right now, you know?
Yeah.
Is he going to grab a ghost and then EMP? No, I don't think he can. Maybe just a fungal.
Little submarine guy there.
Dude, yeah.
Assimilation successful.
Oh, he is! Wait a minute. Okay, so...
Okay, kind of cute. Didn't end up working out, but he's going to come in again.
Does he not know the hotkey for EMP or something? I'm not sure.
He might have it bound correctly on his keyboard.
That would have been amazing, like EMP there. And Dark just comes in. He is going to kill off the planetary over here.
Okay, so
that space lives.
That's a really important attack because it's 15 workers now. And yes, I know mules are, you know, a factor here, but Zerg can power up again. 3,000 minerals in the bank here. And, okay, this expansion is important, but keep in mind it's almost mined out as well. That sort of should put some emphasis on kind of where this game is at now. You can see our observers now going to click around and see that expansion, that little victory that Maru had in the top right, pretty much the worst base he could have taken out, apparently.
Yeah, I guess
and
so.
I didn't know that. Maru didn't know that. Our observer didn't know that until we went up there and we were like, huh. I guess you had a lot of drones mining there and we're not interrupted. But with only 13 workers left, kind of hard to get that momentum back, and I think that we're probably going to see Maru lose here.
Saw 211 SCVs, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's So that's a crazy
That's
stat
a
right
lot.
there.
That's a lot. That might be the biggest I've ever seen.
That's like as many SCVs as you'd see made in a best of 5. Or no, that's not true actually. But you know what I mean?
For
That's
some
like,
people, that's true.
yeah, yeah.
No, absolutely. For some people, that's true, Tasteless. You get
Yeah.
3-0'd and you're a cheesy Terran, man. You get like
Yeah.
60 SCVs total, dude.
So I think in this next moment, if Maru doesn't survive this, he loses the game. And the numbers just don't speak to him surviving this. Although I would love to be proven wrong here.
It's been like an amazing battle from him because he was in, it looked like such a bad position for so long, and he's kind of stayed alive the whole time. Here comes Dark once again. He's up 100 supply right now, though a lot of it's
he
workers.
lives.
Well, his economy being shredded once again.
Yeah, but, well, you know, the problem is actually, I guess these links in the main are going to eat through this.
Yeah.
This is the problem, is even if Terran can hold one position, you can just start to send little groups of lings like this out and just kind of hit wherever. And if you notice, I mean, the supply at 94, that's bad, but it said 94 of 122. So he lost a lot of depots back there. That's a lot of infrastructure to rebuild. And again, I mean, this is not a lot of workers, it's not a lot of bases, so it's like, it's kind of a hard recovery.
Yeah.
You know, now granted, Zerg is going to start to dry up on his bases, but all the bases that Zerg is mining from, all at the same time, he's not worried about remaking Overlords. You know, he doesn't have to rebuild anything, I guess is the big picture of what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
This should give Dark enough momentum to actually have a closing attack.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I gotta say, listen, we've talked a lot about how Protoss need a door. You know
Yeah.
what Terran need is banks, okay?
Yeah.
Compound interest is the greatest force in the universe, and the Terran invented that, and the fact that they aren't able to utilize that here. Imagine if he had compound interest right now, Tasteless.
Yeah, he needs crypto is what he needs.
He needs to
magic
sell
internet
Dark some
money.
NFTs,
Yes.
man. That's what he needs to do. His money, though, is like, look, he's got so many mules mining right now. He's actually mining more minerals than Dark for the first time in 1,000 years.
So, I mean, oh, I just noticed this too. Maybe you mentioned this earlier, Toast. It's been a long game. Center left is being mined by Dark.
Oh, that's
That's
hilarious.
so funny.
I didn't notice
I
that
actually
at all.
missed that up until now.
That's just how gross Dark is,
He's
man.
like, I will spend exactly the price of this hatchery just to eat
Dark-
up these minerals so you can't have them, Maru.
Dude, Dark is that uncle that picks up used cigarette butts, okay? That's
He's
what
the
that
uncle that
is.
smokes you cigarette butts. That's an yes. He is not, he like will not let the milk go bad.
No, he will not.
He's like, well, I'm gonna have to drink a whole gallon of milk today because it's going bad tomorrow. It's like, you know, that's probably too much milk for you. Well, here's the thing, I got this crazy thing in my head that says I have to consume all the food in the fridge. I call that my cost efficiency.
I have him over my house to eat all that celery that gets into my
That's
crisper
right.
all the time. Who eats celery is the biggest question. All right, Broodlord's coming over now. He has the queens. He's set up some spores. Dark is maxed out. Army supply is very similar here.
And there's, while this is happening, links are gonna come into the main.
It's a really great move.
Yeah.
Maru has to deal with this. This is so dangerous, which means the Lings are going to kill a lot of his infrastructure. It's such a powerful, powerful move at this point in the game to just have a little bit of this going on. Look at that.
It's kind of crazy watching Maru hang on like this.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of marveling at like,
He's amazing.
like Dark has won this game for sure, but like Maru is just like, I don't know.
I think
of
Maru would
Bruce-
have won this against pretty much anybody in the world, except for Dark.
This is like watching the Die Hard movie, but in this case, like Bruce Willis loses in the end.
Yeah.
Like, this is.
There's
kind
too
of-
much blood loss through his feet, which was that fourth base.
That's
you know?
right. He can only walk on so much broken glass. What's crazy is
He's so silly how good he is.
does he know that there's no
He
minerals at
might
that base?
can he win this still?
No. Well, there's,
Tasteless. Tell me he can win it still.
I mean, if he wins it, we got to build the statue of him outside the studio.
I'm just
If
going
he
to
wins
recarve
this, we all
Minsk's
have to name
face.
our children Maru, like everybody who's watching.
I'm renaming all my children.
Yeah, Maru
all 3
1,
girls
Maru
and
2.
the boy.
That's
the
right.
boy I already named Maru. And I'm not even going to be nice like George Foreman. They're not getting numbers. They're just all Marus
It's
straight
just
up.
Artosis and the Marus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to turn that into your band name too. So
stupid. Oh my god.
Well, I just want to point this out because we're not done with this yet. It's 8 o'clock. We started at 6:30.
It's my bedtime in 2 hours. Like,
It's crazy
you might
how
have to
long
finish
this
this
has
by
gone on.
yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, some Neurals coming down. A lot of Marine Marauder coming up. Some Hellbats as well. Oh, the Fungal's absurd.
Yeah.
This has got to be it.
I think
right?
so, right?
Yes. That's it.
All right, that's
Those 4 ghosts can't do it this time. He's going to go pick them up, though.
GG. There we go. All right. Crazy series. Dark does take it, putting them in the lead for this group and likely to come out in first place, as these are the 2 favorites. What a series, but
that heavy
some
trading
ways,
style of Dark Tasteless is so... It's wild to watch, isn't it?
yeah, it's something else, man. Damn. What a series. I don't know if we can top that tonight, guys, but we're going to try. All 3 games are amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, and
They all had their own moments there for sure.
yeah, Dark truly the Zerg that game.
Yeah. He was what they envisioned.
Yeah. Guys, tiny break. Coming up next, Creator versus DRG.
You a champion 24/7, nothing in between. All of this golden and turn me a king. Turn me a king.